Okay, aloha pumiana kako. The January 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Neighborhood Board number 34 is called to order. Aloha and welcome. Hau'oli makahikiho. I hope everyone had a wonder-filled holiday season celebrating with your loved ones. My name is Anthony Makana-Paris, and it is my privilege to serve as your community board chair. We are holding a hybrid meeting, both in person at Hale Conference Room A and B, and online via WebEx. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to review some important meeting rules and guidance to ensure that our session runs smoothly and respectfully for everyone in attendance. For order and decorum, we ask that all participants conduct themselves with aloha and in accordance with the neighborhood plan. Please treat each other with respect, keep discussions focused on the agenda, and adhere to the established time limits. If you're participating virtually, kindly mute your microphone when you're not speaking. If you're participating in person, please silence any electronic devices, and any disruptive behavior may result in removal. Reports and presentations. Presentations, unless otherwise specified on the agenda, is limited to 10 minutes. The chair may allow the public to ask questions. Board members will also have an opportunity to discuss and ask questions, as well as receive additional information if it wasn't on the agenda, but they can't comment on it. Public input. The public is welcome to present concerns to the board during our public input agenda item, and board members may ask questions and receive information, but no formal action can be taken at this board meeting on something that wasn't already on the agenda beforehand. Oral testimony. Public oral testimony will be allowed on all agenda items, with each speaker being limited to 3 minutes. We kindly ask you to adhere to that limitation, so everyone has the opportunity to be heard. Requesting to speak. If you'd like to speak, please raise your virtual hand. If online and in person, we kindly ask you to come up to the microphone and line up to the left, stage left, for those that would like to be acknowledged to speak. Written testimony can be accepted in person if you make copies. Otherwise, send it on the virtual portal at the city's website for the neighborhood board. Now, all of the materials that you will see this evening online or otherwise is in our board packet that's available to everyone on the Google Drive. The agenda items and voting. So in accordance with Hawaii State Sunshine Law, we cannot vote on matters that are not listed on the agenda unless they meet specific criteria for inclusion during this meeting. More details are on the agenda. So how can you stay informed and get the agenda to you and the minutes? Sign up for our monthly agenda and minutes with the Neighborhood Board Commission online via the website. So this is our community forum, and we ask that all participants engage with the spirit of aloha. We encourage healthy debate, but we kindly ask that everyone treats one another with respect, especially when you're passionately advocating. And let's honor each other's time by adhering to the allotted speaking times. And by doing so, we can work together to conclude our meeting in a timely manner. Now, for this first meeting of the new year, you will notice on the agenda there's some new things. For all of those people that come before the board that provide routine reports like HPD and Honolulu Fire Department, we have listed the number of things as specified in the updated guidance to make sure that we can talk story, as we usually have, can discuss and ask questions from the board members to those that are presenting, from the State Department of Transportation to our finest serving on the front lines. Now, for those that are already agendized, we can talk and discuss as usual. Let me be confused. And for the presentations, we can discuss and ask questions according to the agenda. Anything not listed on the agenda, then it's a judgment call by the chair to see whether or not we are in compliance or not. And when it comes to public input, including everyone that didn't give me your mana'o 7 days in advance, you're not listed, but you're limited to 3 minutes to talk about anything. anything you want, because there's a specific carve out in the Hawaii revised statutes for neighborhood boards to receive input from the public. And this includes elected officials that didn't get their stuff to us, includes any of the departments already actually presenting to us that wanted to talk about something else. You can during that section. And that section alone, we can actually ask questions and talk story. Now, for those that would like to actually have the board take action in the future, just get the material to me 7 days in advance, and I'll work with you on the appropriate agenda items so that we can make sure we not just have questions and answers and discussions, but the board can take a vote. So is there any questions at this time about the updated guidance and meeting rules? Hearing none, I'll ask for the roll call by the Neighborhood Board Assistant, Curtis Hayashi.
Roll call. Bosler.
Here.
Dudley. Herrera. Absent. Kahele. Absent. Khan.
Here.
Lidstone.
Oh.
Harris. Singleton. Ha'ala. Absent. Sure, you have 6 members present.
Mahalo, we have quorum and can move forward with business. Up first is Honolulu Fire Department. Our agenda says regarding fire and emergency incidents and statistics related to the district and any fire safety tips. So we can talk story about any of those things. Go right ahead.
Aloha board. My name is Captain Brandon Stevens with the Honolulu Fire Department at Station 43, East Kapolei. Here to share statistics and tips of the month. But before I get started with that, we had a couple questions from last meeting that I'd like to address. The first question was regarding big hazardous materials incidents. Will there be sirens or a wireless emergency alert to alert the affected area? Answer, outdoor emergency sirens across the state of Hawaii are activated by the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency during its regular monthly testing to alert the public if there's really an emergency. Wireless emergency alerts, or WEAs, are initiated by the city's Department of Emergency Management and as requested due to an emergency situation, such as the 911 system outage recently. For hazardous materials incidents, the Honolulu Fire Department incident commander will decide if evacuations are necessary. If evacuations are required, the IC may request help from the Honolulu Police Department via the Fire Communications Center. If a large-scale evacuation or other urgent needs require a WEA, the IC will work with the FCC to contact the Department of Emergency Management to initiate the alert. Second question from last session, can there be stats on fires or incidents started by the unsheltered? Answer, the HFD has no such statistics, as the HFD does not track homeless or unsheltered status for any of its emergencies. Some of the statistics for December 2024, structure fires 0, wildland and brush fires 2, nuisance fires 3, cooking fires 0, activated alarms with no fire 22. Emergencies, medical emergencies 208, motor vehicle collisions with pedestrian 2, motor vehicle crash collision 12, mountain rescue 0, ocean rescue 0, hazardous materials incidents 2, and nuisance fires include rubbish fires outside a structure or vehicle. Safety tip and announcements. Fire safety tip, appliance and electrical safety. Minimize electrical fire risk in your home with these safety tips. Electrical work should only be performed by a qualified electrician. Check your electrical cords. If they are cracked or damaged, replace them. Do not overload the wall. Certified power strips that meet safety standards. Extension cords should not be used long-term. They are designed for temporary use only. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for all appliances. And for more information, safety tips, and checklists, visit fire.honolulu.gov. Is there any questions?
Mahalo nui loa. Any questions from board members regarding the report? Any questions from the community at large? Come on up. Please identify yourself for the record and ask your question.
I'm Darren Holbrook, Kapolei. Just got a question based on all the fires we've had in California. How often and what's the policy for checking air pressure in our water fire hydrants for the fire department?
The fire hydrant pressure is regulated through the Board of Water Supply, and they check the pressure and maintain the water supply system. So we do not have any anything to do with the water pressure. We can ask for them to boost it through our communication center, and they'll contact Board of Water Supply for any water pressure needs.
Thank you. Any other questions for Honolulu Fire Department? Hearing none, mahalo for the report and your service. Welcoming up Honolulu Police Department.
Good evening, Chair, board members, members of the community. Corporal Pagan with the Honolulu Police Department, District 8 Community Precinct. You have your stats for December. In December, we had 44 motor vehicle thefts, 17 in our area, 20 burglaries, 16 in our area, 141 thefts, 83 in our area, 27 unauthorized entries into a motor vehicle, 11 in our area. There's a total of 8,548 calls for service, 2,728 in our area. The only other thing I wanted to share was regarding the homeless outreach that's in Kapolei. In December, they had taken in 73 homeless individuals. 23 were sent to transitional housing. 23 got shelter. 7 went to transitional housing. The good one that I like is that 20 were reunified with family and 3 were given permanent housing. As of January, from January 1st till today, there's 54 intakes, 34 into transitional housing, or shelter, 3 transitional housing, 2 so far with family, and as of right now, none went into permanent housing this month. Other than that, I'm open to any comments, questions, or concerns.
Mahalo nui loa. Any questions on the report from fellow board members? Chair recognizes Board Member Mikiala Lindstone.
Hello, I just wanted to mahalo you, Corporal Pagan, for the Honu statistics. That's really great to hear. Really, really great to hear. Mahalo.
Thank you. I got to thank Tori from the Honu. She sent it to me. So thank you, Tori.
Any other board members have questions or comments for Honolulu Fire Department at this time in their report? Hearing none, any questions or comments from the community at large? Come up in person and then we'll alternate in person and online.
Hello, Board Chair Makana. We have a question. This is regarding the screws on Makakilo, on Panana and on Velo. So it's been an ongoing issue for a couple years now, and there's no resolution. There's somebody that's dropping these screws, and I just asked Mark to come here to show exactly how many screws he's collected in 11 months. He's out there daily picking up screws near Velo Street. And this is just one person. There are many people out there picking up screws, saving a lot of us money from, tire damage. And I know there's a lot of people that have experienced tire damage because they're on Nextdoor complaining about it. So instead of complaining about it on Nextdoor, we decided to bring it here. So the people who have power to control or to do something about it can do something about it, because this is long overdue. It's a couple years old, and I'd like to know what is the recourse for this, what type of action is going to be taken so that we can stop this this insanity.
Mahalo for the question.
Sorry, I'm Mark. I have trouble speaking, so, but if you want, I can give you more data on my daily runs when I do it because I've started doing it every day now. Because I keep finding like a couple times this week, I found over 50 on Wednesday and Sunday. But I think there's an Officer Cooper that was, I got told 2 days ago that's kind of hot to him.
Thank you. I just wanted to let you know that we are aware of it. Our criminal investigation division, the detectives are aware of it. They are working on things. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but we are aware of it and we're working on it.
Mahalo for the raising the concern and for the response. Community member, let's go, hold on, we'll go online and then we'll come back to you. First one online we see is Ryan Mandato.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan Mandato. I'm the CEO and principal of Dreamhouse Eva Beach Public Charter School. We just built Hawaii's newest high school in downtown Kapolei called the Dreamhouse Center. We're right next to the Social Security building. My concern is about the increase of youth gang violence in the community. Unfortunately, one of our building windows recently got cracked with a large rock and tagged 700. For those who are not familiar, there is a gang called the 700 Gang in Kapolei, affecting groups and students at Kapolei High School, and unfortunately, students at my school as well. And so my question to Honolulu Police Department is if, number one, are we familiar with some of the gang activity that is happening in the community? And number two, how can community members support to ensure that we prevent this from happening?
Thank you for your question. Our crime reduction unit, as well as the patrol officers, are aware of some of the activities. So we are asking the community that if they believe that something is happening that's gang related, definitely report it. Especially if they're seeing the taggings or if there's damage and they're leaving some type of message behind, like a tag. Definitely let us know so we can lump those together. If you hear, or especially at the schools, if you guys receive information that certain students may be involved in this, by all means, feel free to reach out to us. We can kind of put them in a little database and we'll kind of keep an eye on them, and we can try and see if we can do some type of intervention with our juvenile services division, or if us as a community policing team go out there and just start talking to some of these people and find out what's going on and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely we do ask the community to get involved. Kapolei has a large contingent of neighborhood security watches. So if you don't have one in your neighborhood, by all means, reach out to us. We'll help you guys get one started if you guys have enough people in your neighborhood that's interested in getting one started. We have done some for the schools as well. So if the school wants to start a neighborhood security watch or youth patrol, by all means, let us know. We can work with you guys with that.
Mahalo. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, hi, my name is Bev Brennan. I'm with Barbers Point Bowling Center. The question I have doesn't relate to the bowling center. It relates to Neville Street and Neville Place in Kapolei. I need to know the exact procedures for reporting abandoned vehicles. I live on Neville Place, and you're taking your life in your hands trying to pull out of the street in the morning or in the evening. Excuse me. And one of the vehicles used to sit idle on Neva Street. And then when it was tagged, about a month after it was tagged, I'm assuming for removal, it moved. It was a miracle. It moved, and it's on Neva Place now with another one behind it. You can tell which one's abandoned by the amount of bird poop that's all over the car. How do I, with minimizing the number of phone calls I have to make, how do I report these and get them out of there? You?
Thanks, sir. The Honolulu City and County does have the 311 app. You can report on the 311 app. You can also send us an email. On Monday, we went out and we addressed a lot of parking complaints in the Kapolei area. I think we gave 60 something tags on this Monday. We do have a couple operations that we're going to be working on as far as going out at night with our community policing team as well as some others to start addressing these areas. So I think I'm good at that.
Mahalo. Now, next we'll go online, recognizing Karen Polk.
Aloha Chair, board members, Kieran Polk, Executive Director and CEO of the Kapolei Chamber of Commerce. I also want to mahalo Corporal Pagan on sharing those numbers on the HONU. That's great news, very promising. And I'm wondering if you have word, I haven't spoken with the mayor's administration, but if you have word that the HONU is extending their stay, because I know that was something that was being contemplated. So I don't know if it's a question for you or if I have to wait for the mayor's rep. But since you were speaking about the HONU, I thought I'd ask.
I believe they're going to be speaking on it. I did speak to Tori earlier, and I guess they're looking to try to extend it till March. I know the Waianae district is looking to have it there, but with the success we're having here, we're hoping that Kapolei will extend an invitation for them to stay here for a little bit longer.
Thank you so much.
Mahalo. Any other questions, comments, or concerns for HPD? Mahalo for your service, and we will go to the next agenda item. Is there a representative from the Hawaii Department of Transportation this evening? Okay, come on up. While they're passing that out, just wanted to make sure I didn't miss the Board of Water Supply person. Okay, I didn't see them in or online. But if I'll call for the Board of Water Supply again, if they're not.
Okay. Aloha Chair Paris and Neighborhood Board. Thank you. My name is Henry Kennedy and I'm with the Department of Transportation Highways. I'm here to present an upcoming or to report on upcoming improvement that we're making to the Fort Barrett Road and Roosevelt Avenue intersection. So also I'd like to introduce with me tonight is Craig Nakamoto. He is the Executive Director with HCDA. Okay, so we brought some posters. The first one shows traffic signal evaluation conducted for Fort Barrett Road and Roosevelt Avenue intersection in response to community comments and concerns regarding peak hour operations. Evaluation documented current operational and safety conditions and recommended traffic signal adjustments to improve peak hour operations and safety. Next slide, please. Okay. Graphic shows existing lane configurations at intersection approaches. Note the left turn only lanes for north-south approaches. Next slide, please. Okay. Graphic shows revised lane configurations for proposed improvements. Proposed improvements will split phase the northbound, southbound approaches, meaning each will have their own signal phase. Southbound will have its own green signal while northbound is red, and vice versa. This allows interior lanes for northbound, southbound approaches to be shared left turn through lanes. Okay, next slide. Shows current operations for eastbound, westbound movements. Note current split phase condition. Eastbound and westbound have their own signal phase. Okay, next slide. shows proposed improvements for eastbound, westbound movements. Split phase condition eliminated. Eastbound, westbound left turns go concurrently, followed by eastbound, westbound through movements going concurrently. Next slide, please. Okay, this shows the current operations for northbound, southbound movements. Northbound, southbound left turns go concurrently with green left turn arrows. The northbound left turn arrow turns red, allowing southbound left turns to continue along with southbound through movement. Southbound left turn arrow turns red, allowing northbound, southbound through movements to go concurrently. Left turns are permitted with yield on green condition. Yeah, next slide. Okay. This slide shows the proposed split phase improvements for the northbound, southbound movements. Southbound left turn and through movements have their own green phase. The northbound left turn and through movements have their own green phase. Interior lanes can be used for left turn and through movements. Next slide. Okay. This graphic shows the existing traffic queue lengths for the AM, which is in yellow, and the PM, which is in red during peak hour conditions. Next slide, please. Okay, this final slide shows proposed traffic queue lengths for AM and PM peak hour conditions with the proposed traffic signal modifications. Note the improved AM queue length shown in green. Note that westbound queue length remains approximately the same, and the improved shortened PM queue length shown in blue. And that's the end of what we have.
Mahalo nui loa for being here today from the Highways Division to provide the update on Fort Barrett Road, Roosevelt Avenue, and Enterprise Avenue intersection traffic signal adjustment. Are there any questions from fellow board members? Any questions from the community at large? You have come up.
Thank you, Chair. I'm still Brennan, for anybody that was wondering. This modification is long overdue. Just today, when my business partner was leaving and coming down Fort Barrett, waiting at the light, we knew that the light had turned because our light was green, and 3 more cars just kind of moseyed through the intersection. Someone's going to get hurt really bad. We've had accidents already. What we've been advocating for is to treat north and south like you do east and west. Westbound traffic has 1 minute during peak time. Westbound has about 45 to 50 seconds. North and south share about 45 seconds. So whatever you need to do, whoever you need to talk to, give me a can of white paint. I'll fix it. I'll get that turn arrow in the left lane and we'll be all set. But this ticket item for those of us on Kalailoa. Thank you.
Mahalo. Any other comments, questions from the community? Go right ahead.
Hi, Sheila Medeiros. Just thank you for that thorough map of the revision of the traffic lights. My question is not for this location, but for Levili. Have you folks done a current study of the traffic congestion that is going to be going in and out of Fort Barrett, Barrington Highway, and Kealanani for the Levili project, which is on the north-southwest corner? Has that been brought to your office for a study? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Dr. Dudley, go right ahead.
Are you in charge of the trees in the median going up Makakilo Drive? Is that Department of Transportation or is that Parks and Recreation or what? Okay. Let me tell you that the trees are getting almost leafless. And one would say, well, maybe it's that time of the year, except that some trees look absolutely beautiful and full of leaves. And others, if you look, there are just very, very few leaves on them. Somebody has got to start taking care of those trees. Okay? So pass it on just in case. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns for the State Department of Transportation? Yes, Dr. Dudley, go right ahead.
I'm sorry. As long as we got you here. Maybe Makakilo Drive is not a state road, it's a city road. Is that right? Oh, okay. Then we'll talk with them about that. Thank you so much.
Seeing no other community members or board members having questions, comments, or concerns, thank you very much for the presentation. We appreciate it.
I can't hear her.
Mahalo. So, Mr. Henry Kennedy at hawaii.gov, HENRY.KENNEDY@hawaii.gov for the contact information. And if I could kindly ask that you provide a digital copy of the presentation so we can upload it to our Google Drive for the community, that'd be great. Next up, we have the Neighborhood Board's delegate to Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization, or OMPO, Uncle Frank Canario.
Yes, Mr. Chair, at this month's Citizen Advisory Committee meeting, Executive Director Mark Garrity reported on meetings of the Policy Board and Technical Advisory Committee. The board received presentations on the Oahu Regional Transportation Plan 2050 update, the State Government Employee Transportation Demand Management Study, the Oahu Visitor Survey, and the Imagine This series of Photoshop street images. Samantha Lara of OMPO led a discussion of the bylaws, which calls for one-year terms for the committee chair and vice chair. I suggested an action item to make their terms for 2 years in line with other metropolitan planning organizations. Samantha said that can be done, but eventual change will have to be approved by the policy board. Samantha then briefed on a series known as Let's Talk About that covers a variety of topics. This discussion centered on use of the bus and what could be within the scope of available funding. Members expressed concerns about the lack of room at bus shelters, bus use by handicapped persons compared to their use of handy vans, and the safety of passengers on board. Some amenities also were brought up, such as Wi-Fi and charging stations, art at the shelters, a living roof, that is planters, and then solar-powered digital schedules and wayfinding information. The goal is to make bus use more accessible and attractive to encourage transit use over POV commuting. I have nothing to report on completing Makakilo Drive. I did submit written testimony on the meeting held on Makakilo-Kapolei-Honokai and suggested that they finish Makakilo Drive before they break ground on the new development. I also suggested that it could be moved to Saratoga Road, for example, in line with where there'll be a transit-oriented development site when the rail finally comes out our way. Otherwise, nothing new. Mahalo.
Mahalo for the report, Uncle Frank. Any questions from the board members? Any questions from the community at large? Work, and thank you again for keeping us informed and continuing to advocate for the completion of Makakilo Drive. Doing another call for Board of Water Supply. Seeing none, we'll move on with presentations. And first, we will invite up Department of Environmental Services on the sewer fee increase.
Aloha and good evening, everyone. I'm Mike O'Keefe. I'm Deputy Director at the city's Department of Environmental Services. And I'll just note that the flyer that I just gave to the chair and neighborhood board member, I have copies of them up front here, and they're also available on our website, which I'll plug later. So I'm here to discuss my department's proposed sewer fee increases. The proposed increases are scheduled to take effect July 1st of this year. But what I want to do before I kind of dive into that is just provide some background about what our department does. Important context, I think. So ENV, Department of Environmental Services, we call ourselves ENV for short. We manage all of the city's wastewater and solid waste infrastructure. So on the wastewater side, that means treating about 100 million gallons a day of wastewater through our 2,100 miles of sewer system, 72 wastewater pump stations, and 9 wastewater treatment plants. On the solid waste side, my department manages the Waimanalo Gulch landfill, the city's waste to energy facility, H-Power, and all of the curbside collection operations that you see across the island. That's the yellow truck that comes through and collects your gray, green, your blue cart. We also manage this 7 recycling drop-off convenience centers and 3 transfer stations, waste transfer station, one on Middle Street, Kehi Transfer Station, Kauailoa Transfer Station on the North Shore, and Kapa'a Transfer Station on Kapa'a Quarry Road in Kailua. Also important to note, in the context of a discussion on proposing to increase wastewater fees, our wastewater operation is self-sustaining. In other words, we rely to treat this 100 million gallons of wastewater every day. We rely solely on our sewer fees to fund that operation, that service. And so that means that we periodically have to adjust fees to accommodate for increased costs and projects that I'll talk about right now. So for background, we actually haven't raised fees. Our last fee increase was in 2016. But like everyone, our department has experienced cost increases, and we have a really robust capital improvement program or construction program through the end of 2040 that we now have to raise fees to pay for. Our capital improvement, our construction program from 2025 current year through 2040 is $10.1 billion. It's very large. It's driven by a number of projects. Primarily, it's driven by our consent decree, which is an agreement that we have with the EPA and other parties to complete upgrades to several wastewater treatment plants, actually 2 primarily wastewater treatment plants on Oahu. The Honouliuli wastewater treatment plant that services this basin, and the Sand Island wastewater treatment plant, which services town. The big project in that consent decree is the Sand Island upgrade, which is about a $2.5 billion project in and of itself. And for the Honouliuli project and the Sand Island project, basically the upgrade is to bring the entire plant up to what's called secondary treatment standards, which is just kind of a complicated way of saying that when we treat the sewage that we collect, this 100 million gallons of sewage that we collect every day, and treat it and discharge it into the environment, these upgrades will result in us discharging cleaner effluent, cleaner wastewater into the environment. At the Honouliuli plant and the Sand Island plant, the discharge into the environment is similar. The treated wastewater is discharged very far offshore, a mile or two offshore, and what we call a deep ocean outfall. So about a mile or two offshore and then several hundred feet down. So I mentioned that these fee increases are gonna pay for these consent decree projects. They're also going to help prepare our infrastructure, most of which is coastal, for the impacts of climate change and particularly sea level rise. I have a lot of information on the types of projects that these proposed increases will pay for. I won't go into that detail here, but if you're interested in hearing more about the specific types of projects and just our regular recurring operations costs, I'm happy to have that conversation with you and provide more information. So how much is the bill going up? I mentioned the first rate increase is scheduled to take effect July 1st of this year. What we've proposed to City Council is 6 years, 6 consecutive years of 9% increase, of a 9% increase every year for years 7, 8, 9, and 10. So it's a 10-year package. For those out years, 7, 8, 9, and 10, the increases are proposed to be 8, 7, 6, and 5% in each year. So 6 years of 9%, and then 4 years of 8, 7, 6, 5% for a total of 10 years of increases. And that is a cumulative increase of about 115% over the course of 10 years. So a total increase, in other words, a total increase of 115% by 2035. We recognize this is a big number. It's a lot. You know, what I won't go into detail here because it's a little hard to articulate, but on the flyer up here and on our website, honolulu.gov//ENV, we have information on what the average or what bills will look like at each phase of this, each year of this increase. So you can get a sense of how the bills will change. So those are our proposed rate increases. It's really important for me to mention what we're also proposing along with these increases, which are 2 changes to the way we bill our customers. First, some of you may know that the sewer bill comes on the water bill, right? It's one bill, water and wastewater. And some of you may know that the sewer bill is based, about 70% of the average bill is fixed, meaning it doesn't change at all every month. It's the same no matter how much water you use. The remaining 30% is based on your water usage. So the more water you use, the higher your bill goes on that volumetric portion of the bill. The less water you use, the lower your bill is. So it's about a 70-30 split. When we were developing these rates that I talked about, the 10-year package that I talked about a minute ago, we convened a stakeholder advisory group that advised us on the rates and the rate structure and any assistance programs, which I'll talk about in a second. One of the things this advisory group told us was that they wanted to see a shift in the proportion of the bill that was fixed versus volumetric, the portion of the bill that stayed the same every month, no matter how much water you use, versus the portion of the bill that changes based on your water use. So we took their advice, and along with this proposal, we're shifting from a 70% fixed portion of your bill, 30% volumetric, to 50-50. So what that does is give our customers more control, greater control over their bill, over their overall charges. So if you use less water because a larger portion of your bill is volumetric based on water usage, you can actually lower your bill. Secondly, and this is something the department hasn't done before, we are going to be rolling out a customer assistance program. We recognize that the increases are big, and so we are going to be committing $10 million every year to help offset the cost for certain customers. It'll be an income-based, largely income-based customer assistance program that folks will have to apply for and qualify to receive. But successful people who are able to successfully do that will receive a $20 to $25 credit on every monthly on their monthly sewer bill. And for those of you who can remember back when COVID was here, the city had what was called a rental and utility relief program who provided folks support. Folks who fell on hard times during COVID, they provided support for them during COVID. Our customer assistance program that we're going to be rolling out is going to be structured similarly to that. Basically, the customers apply, a third party qualifies to make sure that they meet the requirements of the program. They send that information to us, and then we credit their bill at the end of the day. So that's a lot of information. There's more information on the sheets that I have up front and then on our website, honolulu.gov/ENV. At that, I think I'll stop there and pause for any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from fellow board members at this time? Chair recognizes Dr. Keone Dudley.
The military bases, do they take care of their own sewage, or can you tell us what happens?
In large part, they do. They have there are military wastewater treatment plants, and they treat most of their own wastewater. The off-base housing and off-base facilities, they're more than likely on the city system, and they would be charged similarly.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from fellow board members? Opening up to the community at large. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the presentation on the sewer fees? Let's go online to Val Pia Tuiloma.
Aloha, all. Valerie Kupia, Tuiloma. I had a question. I was interested in that, I guess, arrears assistance that customer service thing you were just talking about. What is the total amount of assistance are you folks going to be paying out?
So the department is dedicating $10 million annually for the assistance program, and that's based on some initial research and data that we gathered related to qualification levels, levels that people would need to qualify for, income levels that people will qualify for this program. We think that would cover that portion of the population, but that's a dynamic number that can change if the need is greater.
Is there some information online for the qualifications for like an application just yet?
Not yet. When rates go live, which I should clarify too that the rate proposal is in front of City Council currently, and it still needs to go. It passed its first reading. It still needs at least 2 more hearings to pass before it becomes the bill becomes ordinance. But once that happens and rates become effective, we're going to be doing this whole PR campaign on the assistance program, including doing mailers that will be included in the current water and wastewater bill that folks receive, and other avenues of communicating the program.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions from community members or board members? Seeing that I have a a question, maybe a couple. The first is recognizing that our community members will be having a decade-long 115% rate increase. Has the department contemplated how to help community members or particular homeowner associations to offload appropriate water remediation at their locations? So say, have you contemplated putting up amount of resources to incentivize homeowner associations to put in gray water capturing systems, new piping, for either for existing or for new developments on the way?
Yeah, thank you for that question. You know, the short answer is no. You know, our department is really tasked with dealing with the wastewater once it enters the sewer. But I know we have been in talks with Board of Water Supply, who is, you know, on the drinking water side to better incentivize and promote programs like that, because our water is this precious resource, right? And the more you can conserve and reuse, the better. But the importance of that, even though it's not technically our responsibility, the importance of programs like that is not lost in our department. The less we have to treat, the better.
Thank you. Community member, question, come up. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Leslie Keating, and I am I live here, a resident of the community. I had a couple questions. First, going to the $25, it doesn't seem to be enough. I know that a lot of people in low-income situations, I was brought up very low income, that water can be the first thing to go, because that's something you can turn off and drink bottled water, but it becomes a sanitary issue, and people can sometimes go very long periods of time without any water. So I think we need to readdress the amount of funding that's going to be given to our low-income residents. But secondly, I had questions regarding, I didn't see anything mentioned about our hotels, our golf courses. What kind of fees are being put on these companies? Are they going to be asked to conserve so that their bills can go down? Are they going to be paying a tremendous amount more? Just because I know a lot of our waste is coming from those places.
Yeah, thank you for those great questions. I'll tackle them in the order that you asked. So the first question about the $20 to $25, you know, we're for the initial rollout, we're thinking 10 million and $20 to $25 credit on the monthly bill for the first year or so. You know, we'll see how that goes. Like I mentioned, that's a dynamic number. That's a dynamic program. We can change. You know, I would encourage you to grab one of the flyers and take a look at it on your way out, because what we do have on the flyer, and then on the website, we have more examples, but what we do have on the flyer is what the average single family home user will experience in terms of a cost increase in year 1, 2, 3, 4, so on through 10. And it's you know, for example, for the first month of for the first year of the increase is about $12. So assuming someone qualifies for the program, the $20 to $25 credit rather will more than compensate for the increase. In fact, it'll be a net reduction compared to the current bill. But I appreciate the comment, and it's something that we will continuously evaluate. That's not fixed. If anything, it might be fixed for the first year, which I think will still be a huge benefit. But you know, we evaluate these things all the time, and we'll refine the program accordingly. To the next question about the big users, the large users, the golf courses. So I'll take, because there are actually two different users, so I'll take them separately. The golf courses. It depends. So some of the golf courses out here, they take recycled water. I mean, like for example, in Eva Beach, they'll take recycled water that's sent from our own Uli wastewater treatment plant to the neighboring recycler, Veolia, the company is called, and they have a distribution network they send to some local golf courses. But for golf courses that don't take recycled or reused water and that they're using potable water for irrigation, they are for the water that's used for irrigation and that doesn't make its way into our sewer system, more than likely what they have is a sub-metering system on their facility. So the sub-metering system allows them to only pay for the water that they use on property that doesn't go into the sewer system, because it wouldn't make sense to charge them a sewer fee for water that they use, but that doesn't end up in our sewer system. And the Board of Water Supply, which manages the potable water supply, the drinking water supply, has a program that they charge golf courses for. There's certain special rates that I'm not really familiar with. I apologize, but they are large users, and I know that they pay a lot for their water for irrigation. But more related to our department, and it's a question that I get often, and it's a really good one, is these large developers, these large like multi-hundred room developments, how do they financially contribute to the system? They contribute a lot. So they contribute at 2 points in the process. One, when these big hotels and developments are being built, each unit in these buildings has to pay a connection charge to connect to the city's sewer system. I'll call it our system because it is our system. It's a city sewer system. That connection charge, it's escaping me right now. It's in the $6,000 range. So when you have a unit like a big hotel or something like that, you take those 300 or 400 units and you multiply it by that $6,000, and that's how much they're paying just for the initial connection. And then there's the ongoing service, the monthly bill. So similarly, where a hotel, for example, has 300 or 400 units, I talk about a fixed base charge and then a monthly volumetric charge that comprise the sewer bill. Those developments of those hotels, for example, they're paying that same charge times however many units are in the hotel. The hotel units, because they're smaller than single family homes, the charge is slightly less. It's about, I think it's about 70%. The fixed charge is about 70% less than your average single family home. The volume charge, the charge that they get for how much water they use is the exact same. So every month on their sewer bill, they're paying, a hotel is paying however many 100 units there are times that fixed charge multiplied by the usage charge. So our biggest customers for the sewer system, I think 5 of our 10 biggest customers are hotels, and they're paying into this taxpayer funded program. I want to say like $6-7 million a year just in regular recurring monthly charges. So they are making significant financial contributions to the system.
Sorry.
So are they? Yes, they are. Yeah.
Thank you. So for the consumers beyond those of the family households are also going up at the same rate, 115%. Chair recognizes First Vice Chair Makakilo Linstone.
Mahalo. I'm curious to know, if you've taken any data on city parks and, the astronomical amount of vandalism that occurs in our restrooms, and, what if that has had an impact on maybe waste of, you know, resources that could possibly, maybe one solution is to, you know, maybe if the vandalism goes down, I don't know, but it in park restrooms, I mean, would that help at all?
So as a source of possible wasted water, is that what you mean? Or
Yeah, because I mean, isn't that passed on? You know, that's a, you know, it's a city park, so we're all paying into it, right? And so when there's vandalism and there's waste, it affects all of us as well. So I'm just, I mean, it's just such a high increase. I'm trying to think what has happened between, you know, the last increase and now that we've got to have this, you know, amount of increase in our sewage fees. And I'm just thinking about the, you know, because I am in the park so much, I see the vandalism in the restrooms, and I'm just curious if there's any data on that, or
yeah, that's a good question. Admittedly, it hasn't been raised to us before, but we can certainly inquire about that. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Any final questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, thank you very much for the presentation. Look forward to hearing your responses. Let's go now to the proposed construction out at University of Hawaii West Oahu campus and invite that team up.
Good evening, Chair, members. I guess I'll do the introductions. I'm Calbert Young. I'm the Vice President for Budget and Finance for the University of Hawaii System. And maybe I'll let the directors introduce themselves too.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board. Craig Nakamoto, I'm the Executive Director for the Hawaii Community Development Authority.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. Randy Chu with HHFDC.
Okay, thank you very much for your time this evening. So we wanted to update the board and community on a project that our three agencies are jointly undertaking in the vicinity. And this is at UH West Oahu, but more precisely, it's along Kualakai Parkway right next to rail station number 2. So just real fast, a little bit of context. So this is a drawing location. I think we're all familiar where UH West Oahu is, but actually where the campus is actually is only a fraction of the overall size of the university's property. The area in yellow, that crescent shape, that's actually the portion that runs along Kualakai Parkway, and that purple line is the rail station route. The red circle indicates the area that we're going to be talking about this evening. It's approximately 20 acres. It's reflected on this drawing as if it's 2 separate parcels. Each is roughly about 10 acres. This is a multi-agency project at the state that involves 8 CDA, Hawaii Community Development Authority, HHFDC, Hawaii Housing Finance Development Corporation, and the University of Hawaii, UH, each bringing a particular asset or resource in their authority to develop a roadway that is on the interior of UH West Oahu land. It'll run, for the most part, parallel along a portion of Kualakai Parkway, but it would enable the 20 acres that I just mentioned for future development. And the area in yellow is, on this picture, is the roadway areas that we're referencing. Okay, so each of our agencies can just give you an update of where we currently are. So for the University of Hawaii, our participation or our contribution is we are the landowner. We are making this land available for future development right along the rail station. We have, our Board of Regents have entered into a memorandum of agreement with the other agencies and have offered or given to Hawaii Community Development Authority entitlement agreements that would allow for them to undertake the effort for the roadway construction. And we are currently in the process of working with HHFDC for what would eventually, we think, be a request for proposals for potential development at the site.
Thanks, Calvert. So one of HCDA's other responsibilities besides the Kalaeloa Community Development District is the legislature established a TOD infrastructure development program within our statutory framework. In the 2023 session, the legislature appropriated 35 million for us to develop, as Calvert mentioned, on-site infrastructure that will support the phase 1 development on parcels 3 and 4. What this entails is the yellow road that you see on the slide is the road and related utilities that HCDA through its contractor Goodfellow Brothers will be constructing. The contract with Goodfellows is already executed. They've started some initial site work like soils and other test work. We don't have a construction start date yet. That's something that I think we have to work with Calvert and his team on developing that schedule. And then once the construction starts, we'll coordinate that construction with UH West Oahu just to ensure that there's no, to ensure minimal impacts on students and staff.
Thank you, Craig. HHFDC's participation in this project is to issue an RFP to build workforce housing for this area. We're looking to structure it such as it's either for sale leasehold or rental housing targeted at residents, workforce. Anticipated timelines, we plan to get the RFP out sometime around February of this year, with proposals received in May, developer selection in August, and developer approval the latter part of this year. The key features is that HHFDC will be funding $5 million to be provided to the developer for support in design and planning work. And we are going to seek some annual lease rent for the university. Thank you.
So just to close, so we've been taking this roadshow, if you will, around since just before Christmas. So a number of elected officials have seen this very same presentation that we've given you this evening. There's also been community meetings at UH West Oahu that have been available. UH Board of Regents meetings, in particular, the UH Board of Regents have actually asked for public periodic updates on this project. So if anybody is so interested, you also get the benefit of watching a UH Board of Regents meeting. We are doing presentations to you folks this evening, and there is also, we are targeted and tickered to also present at the EVA Neighborhood Board as well. I think that's the last slide. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members.
Mahalo for providing the presentation on the proposed infrastructure improvements and planned workforce housing out at UH West Oahu. Are there any questions from our board members? Chair recognizes Second Vice Chair Dr. Keone Dudley.
I'm very concerned because this is farmland, and and it's also the best farmland that we have in the state. And it took 5 million years from the time the first man and woman lived on the earth for us to reach 1 billion people. That came around 1800. It took 140 years to reach 2 billion people. That was 1940, 2 billion people. That's when I was born. 40 years later, we had 4 billion people. 40 years later, I'm 85 now. At age 80, we had 8 billion people. The earth cannot hold 16 billion people. We can't provide for them. The United Nations is telling us that people will be starving. 387 million people will be starving in 2050. They are telling us that there are going to be wars for food, that there are going to be mass migrations of people because of lack of food. We here in Hawaii are not going to be able to import 1 bite of food in 2050. If we don't start providing our own food, we will be dead. Now, you guys have got to start realizing these lands that are in agriculture are absolutely essential to our livelihood. We can, we don't need that thing. We don't need it. Let's stop the population growing so fast that we need things like this. We just don't need it. Okay. I just want to tell you, it's got to stop. You're going to kill your own descendants. Thank you.
Mahalo for the commentary from Dr. Dudley. Any other board members have questions, comments, or concerns at this time? Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large? Come on up, community member Sheila Medeiros.
Sheila Medeiros, thank you very much for your presentation, but I do have one question for the gentleman from HHFDC. And this is pertaining to Levili. As you probably know, there's a lot of opposition in terms of the development of that area for Levili project. No one is against the affordable housing that is needed, but it's the location that we are challenged with. And I'm more concerned now because the DOT, when I asked the question if they have conducted a study of that area for the development, his answer was no. That's deeply concerning because the developer said they've done a study. So I don't know what study has been done. And I'd like to know, we all would like to know this because once this development that you folks have set to develop, all of us here will have to live with it. So we would like a thorough explanation of the DOT study of Levili, the traffic going into and out of Fort Barrett, Kialanani, and Barrington Highway. My question for HHFDC is that the only location available to build this affordable housing? And I would urge you to actually do a walk on property and tell me that the VA treatment facility that was not scheduled in the first initial plan that is there now, that's taking up 7 acres of the 27 acres that was originally set. So you're now going to fit that entire structure in 20 acres of land, leaving very minimal space. And I agree with Dr. Dudley. We need to become foods dependent. We live on an island. Everything gets shipped in here. So when are we going to stop building? But the question for HHFDC is there another option for Levili?
Thank you for your question. In regards to that property at the corner of Farrington and Fort Barrett, that is always has been planned, master plan as part of the villages of Kapolei. and it was master planned to be inhabited for residential use. So at this point, we are just implementing the master plan, and the EIS for the entire villages was done and considered that installation there. The developer has conducted a traffic study for the area and has offered it to all the agencies that are for review. And I believe DOT was one of the agencies that received it.
Mahalo. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from community members or fellow board members? Chair recognizes Second Vice Chair Dr. Keone Dudley.
Uh, Continuing on about that corner, we are very concerned on this board about the lack of parking in that the facility. We took a vote, I think, last meeting that we would like to see that project cut in half so that there could be enough parking. It's absolutely insane to think that there's only going to be one car for every so many houses. You know, I know it's like 1.2 per apartment, but there are just too many. I mean, if we look at what's going on, there are so many cars in our area, and the parking is going to be insane. And we also are really concerned about the traffic. So thank you.
Mahalo, Dr. Dudley. Any other questions, comments, or concerns regarding the proposal focused at University of West Oahu from community members or board members alike? So I will raise the two resolutions that our board did take that's relevant to this project. The first is a general call of a moratorium until the above ground power lines are addressed, because it is a safety hazard for our community. And we see the build out, not just with me, but also with the proposed project that you have and many others on the docket the next 2 decades. And we're looking at 20 to 30,000 potential new units. And the largest concern our community has come out with is the lack of appropriate infrastructure. So we're building the units, but not the infrastructure in order to take care of it in the first place. We're already drowning now. And if we put more units there, it will just get worse. None of the community members have testified before our board to say they're against affordable workforce housing or the development of the university campus. But the concern that we hear over and over from the community is that we're building without a plan for infrastructure. So help us help you coordinate this. So that's the first one, is on the moratorium. The second regarding this project is our concerns over Le'ili, and we have promulgated a resolution for multi-unit developments coming forward with the comments, questions, and concerns that the community have, with 17 recommendations. And most of them is how to offload that public infrastructure to the new development units. So let's develop smarter. Can we develop gray water systems, microgrids? And this University of Hawaii project be one in which everyone across the state looks at, like, that's how we should go and develop moving forward? Or is this going to be another project in our community where everyone does their job in a silo, and then what we get with is a mess that 50 years from now, they're going to sue again for another consent decree in order to clean up that mess? So I think our community is hopeful that this can be a dream project and where we can work together for sustainability and what it can look like and what will look like in the 20 years from now. And we would love to continue the conversation with the wisdom that came out of this community, and recognizing that we'll be playing our part to help you all along as well. Mahalo.
Oh, Chair. Chair, can I
Go right ahead.
add to that? So let me maybe try to answer the first part of your question regarding infrastructure. So one of the things that my agency is doing, working with the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development, is to work on a East Kapolei infrastructure master plan. It's in progress right now, and I think hopefully it'll address some of the concerns about adequacy of infrastructure and what might be needed to support the developments in the East Kapolei area, including the developments by DLNR, DHHL and so forth. So it's in progress right now. I haven't seen a draft of it, but I just wanted to let you know that we're working on it to address that. Thank you.
Awesome. Super grateful to hear that. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the community? Hearing none. Really appreciate you guys coming out and talking to us this early in the stage. And we look forward to continuing the discussion. Okay. Mahalo. Let's move forward now to presentation by Hawaiian Island Fiber Link from Ocean Networks and other associated parties. Welcome up.
A little bit height challenge here. Okay. Aloha, Chair, members of the board, members of the community. My name is Cliff Miyake. I'm with Ocean Networks. And thank you for letting us come over here tonight to share some information on our new system. So our system that we'd like to build between the islands is a new, what we call middle mile system that will keep communications and information flowing between the islands. We're part of the Connect Kako initiative to ensure that broadband flows throughout our state. 95% of the communications and information runs on undersea fiber optic systems. Unlike what there's a guy in Washington now who would lead you to believe it comes off the satellites. It actually runs on pulses of light that flows over glass that's under the oceans. And so we are building one of those between all the Hawaiian Islands shortly. History and the background of this. So the one of the things that came out of COVID was we realized how important it is to have broadband connectivity to homes for telemedicine, for education, to work from home, and that pretty much everything we do nowadays runs on internet protocol and runs over the internet, over the broadband between the islands. We have 3 systems currently that connect the islands of Hawaii. And before I go through those, just want to mention that the life cycle design, the lifetime of a system is designed for 25 years. So the oldest system we have is 30 years old. The second youngest system we have is 28 years old. And the newest system in the islands is now 16 years old. By the time we finish building the new system, it'll be 18 years old. So you can see the islands are kind of at a threat of maybe losing the connectivity that keeps everything running. Also, as a result of COVID, the federal government saw the importance of keeping broadband flowing. So they then went to the states and said, you can apply for a grant. State of Hawaii applied for a grant, and as the Treasury Coronavirus Capital Project Fund from the American Rescue Plan, or ARPA, the state was granted about $115 million, $60 million of which will be used to help fund the cable system. The cable system total cost is about $120 million. So the difference between the 120 and the 60 that's via the grant will be financed by Ocean Networks via a debt equity raise in the capital markets. So what does the system do? It will have 24 fiber pairs connecting all the islands in the state. 24 fiber pairs, 48 fibers between Oahu, Maui, and the Big Island and Kauai. And then there'll be 12 fibers or 6 pairs that branch off of that into Molokai and Lanai. The total system capability is to be able to transmit, what's that? 148 million photos or 138,000 2-hour movies per second over the system. So you can tell all our Netflix, everything we're watching it is over the fiber systems. The system life again was 25 years. And our system is basically doesn't have power on it. The distance between the islands is short enough that we can use the lasers to transmit the signal island to island. And the lasers will pulse, and it's like Morse code, it's like off on, off on. And in that is coded all the information. And even when we make a phone call, our voices is converted into those pulses that then flow over the cable. So this is a layout of the system, Lihue, Kauai to Kapolei. From Kapolei, we go on to Kahului, Maui, and we go in and out of Molokai and Lanai. From Kahului, we go all the way down to Hilo, Hawaii. One of the things about our system is everywhere we're landing does not duplicate any existing cable landing that exists today that connects the island. So it's diverse, and it offers, much more resiliency to the connections between the islands. There's 5 segments in the system between the islands, and again, 48 fibers or 24 pairs. So how we build it, as you can see, there's like 3 different kinds of fiber types we use. The one on the very top there is in the deep sea between the islands. As we get closer to the islands, we got to put a little bit of protection on it. So you see that single armor there. And then when we get really close inshore, where you have the coral and the rocks and things, we double armor it. Just as a comparison, you can see a marking highlighter pen next to what the deep sea fiber kind of looks like. So you can see the scale. We actually, when we build the system, we drop fiber off the back of a ship that goes between the islands, and it settles on the bottom. It settles to the surface of the ocean bed. How we bring it ashore. So from shore, the concept, everything we want to protect the land, the flora, the fauna of the ocean. So when we design the system, we look at where the corals are, we look at the path, we look at the rocks, and we design the system to be laid around everything. So it's not over coral, doesn't damage coral. So we want to install it in a very careful manner to protect the environment. From land, we will actually drill out to sea. So what we do is we bring a drill rig, which drills down at like a 15-degree angle, enters, wherever we're starting to drill, and it goes under the surface. So like here in Kapolei, we'll be at Barbers Point Beach Park. So the idea is to drill at an angle and get down deep enough, fast enough, so it's under the surface of the park, goes out under the seabed, and it goes out to a location where we have about a 33-foot depth, where we'll pop out and we look for a sandy bottom. We've done ocean surveys. We set divers down to establish the ideal spot that doesn't have any coral that it'll affect, and that's a sandy bottom where we can pop out. As the drill drills out, there's a drill head which is pushed by actually what's going to be the conduit, that once it's laid out and you pop out, we remove the drill head and you leave the conduit in place. And then the ship comes in, drops the cable, and the cable is then pulled in through the conduit and brought ashore. Yeah. So the picture you see there is Hilo, where we're going to land in Hilo, and you can see all the volcanic rock. So you can tell how important it is to protect everything, and that's why we want to do it via the drilling route. So you're not digging anything up. You're actually going under everything and coming up in a safe location. So once we have the drill done, the actual conduit goes into a beach manhole, which will, that part we dig it at that location, drop it in the ground. But when we're done placing it, all you see is like a manhole cover that's flush to the ground. There's a conduit that connects from there, goes to, for what we're building on Oahu, it's going to go up on the pole line. And then we'll use the pole line and existing telephone poles to get to where we need to get here on the island. And the cable goes to a cable landing station. And as you can see, the locations of each of the landing stations in the state are UH campuses, actually, and facilities that pre-exist on the campuses. Kauai College, University of Hawaii West Oahu, the Learning Center in Molokai, UH Maui, UH Hilo, as well as at Manele will just stay in the harbor and place a modular building there. There is one location on Oahu that will continue to, it's called DR Fortress. It's just by the airport. And that's where all the internet connections for the state all cross connect. And that's where the systems that come in and out of the state, either going to Asia or going back to continental US, all connect through that location. So the system will connect there so that all the content and all the things we, Netflix, TikTok, everything you see flows through the systems that come into the state and go through that location and then onto the system. So this is the kind of an aerial view of the Barbers Point Beach Park landing site. We have a cable that will go out from there to Kauai, and the other cable heads down south towards Maui and the Big Island. On land, we extend from the Barbers Point Beach Park. We go to West Oahu College, and then from there we continue to that DR Fortress location, which is there by the airport. This is the shot of what it'll look like at the beach park. So you can see that first dot there is the beach manhole. There'll be a conduit that connects to the first telephone pole, that green dot. And from there, we jump up on the telephone pole and we'll have new fiber placed on the pole lines all the way to West Oahu. So we use existing facilities. We don't have to build anything new. And we're kind of, reusing what's already there to make the connection inland. And that's kind of in a nutshell what we're planning to do. We just want to share that. We do have some flyers which talk about it a little bit. And we do have a website, hifl.llc, where you have a little bit more detailed information that you can go to and look at, as well as we'll be doing a little bit more of a more involved discussion next week, Monday, at the Kroc Center from 6 to 8 p.m. So if you would like to hear a little bit more details, please come. And we'd love to see you again. Thank you.
Mahalo for the presentation on the Hawaii Islands Fiber Link project. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from fellow board members? Chair recognizes Second Vice Chair Dr. Keone Dudley.
It sounds like a beautiful project, except the telephone poles. This board is so strong on putting things underground. Is that possible at all?
Yes, Dr. Dudley, it is possible. And actually, there is a plan for that. Due to the Treasury funding, we have a clock that we have to achieve getting the system built and turning it on, which is the target is December 2026. So to meet that date, we are looking at doing the aerial first. There is a plan to come back, much more involved design and engineering and build to put an underground route inland from the beach park to the college. But that we expect will take probably another 2 years, so a little bit more time. But yes, the plan is to have that underground route available for the system as well.
Mahalo. Chair recognizes First Vice Chair Michaela Lindstone.
Mahalo. I just have one question and one comment. In the beginning, you mentioned that, years, and the 18 years stuck in my mind. So is it going to take 18 years about for this project to be completed?
No, we should have it completed by December 2026. The 18 years is the age of the youngest inter-island system that exists today. But that system is not widely used because it's been tied up in court litigation for many, many years. It was built with federal funds, and there were some things that happened with that didn't work out. So,
Oh, thank you. That makes sense. Just one comment. This was a really excellent, excellent presentation. You know, we had a similar project presented a few months ago, and I was a little uncomfortable with it because it was so confusing. I didn't understand it. But this, you explained it so well.
thank you.
Project. Much aloha to you on this project. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Aloha.
Any further questions, comments, or concerns from board members? Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large? What? Wait. Come ask the question at the microphone so everybody can hear. Come. Aloha.
I was asking him if he's cheaper than Spectrum.
We actually just built the facility that the internet providers use. So Spectrum, Pointel, wireless provider, they will all be the ones using the cable. Can't speak to cheaper because we don't offer the service.
Mahalo for the clarification that you're providing the infrastructure that the service providers can use, and hopefully the increased competition will be better for the consumer.
Yes, that is one of the goals.
Last call for questions, comments, or concerns. Dr. Amy Bosler, go right ahead.
Sorry, thank you, Chair, and thank you for this presentation. I will just mimic what everyone has said. It's so wonderful. I appreciate you taking the time to go over all the details and then also to say publicly that you are concerned about our corals and our marine life. I very much appreciate that. That's very near and dear to my heart. I also appreciate that eventually this will be underground. That's wonderful news. Just a question, not major, just wondering what the connection is with UH, that all of your stations are going to be on UH campuses. Just curious. Thank you.
So because part of the funding is federal funding that came through the state of Hawaii, the thought was to also use state property so that they had space, and it's good to reuse space and not be building brand new things when you don't have to. It's better economies to use what you already have. Also, the state, because the state is making the contribution by the federal grant, the state, and I should have mentioned this earlier, the state will have a fiber pair that it has use of statewide, as well as the state will have 300 gigabits of capacity that will be active and usable that is on the path, as well as 100 gigabits of capacity is also being given by the system as a grant to the Department of Hawaiian Homelands to connect the homelands for the hopefully the benefit of the beneficiaries. And I guess to really answer the question, the use of state facilities helps a lot in the time process. It shortens it a lot because when you have to deal with like 6 different private landowners and getting the easements and getting all the legal things done, sometimes it won't happen in the timeline you need it to be able to build the system and turn it on as quick, in the time frame we would like to make it happen.
Last call for questions from board members or community. Hearing none, thank you so much for the presentation, and we look forward to a build out that's sound and on the ground. Let's welcome up our next presentation from Project Nehemiah Hawaii on Human and Sex Trafficking Awareness Campaign. let's,
They don't have the.
we'll take a 2-minute recess while we're setting up for the audio visual, and we'll be back at 8:42. Be at ease. Just want to share the video before you talk. Okay. Aloha everyone. At 8:46, we are now out of recess, and we are available to start off the Project Nehemiah presentation with a public service announcement video. So we'll share that shortly. We were all excited and it's now buffering. Right on. While it's buffering, oh, there we go. There we go.
Come gather round, gather round, gather round, gather round.
Word of love and beauty, yet we rarely see it today.
Have grown, and accepted,
Human trafficking, child abandonment, domestic abuse, child abuse. Grappling with drugs, grappling with guns, and the ever pervasive challenge of homelessness that skippers our island over half. Sex trafficking, it's absolutely. It's just kids. Sometimes teenage girls. Is there some things
it's because they're part of that's how they get preyed upon, that's how they get trafficked, is because something identifies them as somebody that needs something part of the past. It is something that need.
reading the language.
Children that are missing their parents. So you really have to be aware. If you have a child or a niece or a nephew that's really start understanding this. Because its behavior should be just more than having to things going on. So children with people that are what's this person team? So
what they're suffering. Let's go. Let's get it. It's two victims went down in their 20s. The tree can fit in. Just hit 40 years. If you're together, we can transfer.
Because their interest children is the interest they have.
Aloha and mahalo, Anthony Makana Paris, and Vice Chair, and all the board members, all the departments that are here tonight, and the community that is here as well. My name is Christina Everett. I am the CEO and founder of Project Nehemiah Hawaii. I was born and raised here in Hawaii. I have 7 children, 7 grandchildren, 5 that graduated from Campbell High School. I'm a statistics of the suppression and oppression here in the state of Hawaii, the doors that have opened to the vulnerability of our ignorance. Why do I say ignorance? Because there is a deep illegal organizations that have planted themselves rooted here in the state of Hawaii because of that. So because of that, it has opened the door to the vulnerability where we have these organizations that are stealing, killing, and destroying our children. I'm here tonight to bring that type of awareness and to let our communities know that our children are not for sale and that it is happening here in Hawaii. If for those of you who do not know, you can look on online, Google it. And for those of you who do not know, Waianae is the #1 hub for human trafficking. Statistically, Hawaii is on the top 3 as far as human trafficking. I don't believe the statistics that is being seen on Google. But out of the percentage, and when we look at percentage, it's 74% of our Native Hawaiians that are being trafficked here in the state of Hawaii. We were the organization that were part of bringing to light the 11 children that were found 2 years ago in the ending of October up Waianae Valley Road. 11 children that were found. Every year we host Hope Awareness community events. This year we are taking it over to the Big Island that I am and have talked with Mayor Kimo Alameda and that we are putting something together. I've spoken with the mayor of Maui and he wants to put something there together. It is a dark, deep secret, but it's not a secret because for those who are ignorant and don't understand that these things are taking place in broad daylight, it is happening. And if we don't educate our families, we don't educate our community, we will not know how this looks like. And so this is who we are. I know I have a short time, but this is who we are. And we want to educate our families and our children. And they have infiltrated the schools. They are here. So this is who we are. We want to bring as much information and awareness to our communities that these illegal organizations are not welcome here in Hawaii.
Aloha, this is Sheila Medeiros, also with Project Nehemiah. What we have been doing since the summer is we've been having a campaign for signages in public parks and schools, and also an information and education campaign to bring awareness to the public schools. The campaign, the signages have been endorsed by Mayor Blangiardi and Governor Green and prosecuting attorney Stephen Alms. It's a placard about this size, and it has the hand signals of the SOS, which is palm, 4 fingers, and a thumb, which is stop human trafficking. But this is the signal that's on these placards, and there's information on those placards that a victim or somebody who knows of a victim can see that information and contact the authorities or the number that's on there. Also, in alignment with Project Nehemiah's mission to enhance public awareness, educate the community, and combat human trafficking, Representative David Alcos of District 41 has introduced House Bill 155 entitled Sex Trafficking Penalty Protection for Trafficked Persons. This critical legislation plays a vital role in the fight against human trafficking and has received bipartisan support, including a companion bill by Senate Bill 1261, presented by Senator Mike Gabbard. House Bill 155 will undergo review by 3 key committees: the House Committee on Health and Human Services and Homelessness, the House Committee on Finance, and the House Committee on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs. The dates and times for public testimony will be announced shortly, allowing the community to participate either in writing, in person, or via Zoom. We strongly encourage public participation to support House Bill 155, which aims to increase criminal penalties, safeguard victims, provide essential services to those affected by human trafficking. Project Nehemiah has launched a signature campaign to support public signage, which I have just explained. This initiative has garnered endorsements from multiple officials, including State Prosecuting Attorney Steve Alms, Honolulu County Mayor Rick Blangiardi, Governor Josh Green, Representative Diamond Garcia, Senator Mike Gabbard, Representative Chris Morioka, and many other public figures who have participated in our many outreach events and campaign efforts. We ask for public support as we go through this legislative process and ask for your support for HB 155 and Senate Bill 1261. Thank you for your time. Mahalo.
Aloha. Mahalo for the presentation from Project Nehemiah. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from fellow board members? Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large? Dr. Amy Bosler.
Thank you. For those of us who were joining from WebEx, it was very difficult to hear any audio, but the videography was beautiful. And Curtis just sent us the link, so I look forward to hearing the message that was shared at the meeting. I'm also wondering if you can share, Sheila, please, how or the link for us to submit testimonial to support you, or how you, what kind of, how we can support you in your project. If you could share that information so it can be spread more widely with our community.
Absolutely. I'll share it with Chair Makana Paris and get that information out to you, especially when it's time for hearings. We need massive public support to get this bill passed, even with Senate Bill 1261. But we appreciate your support. Thank you.
The chair recognizes board member Michaela Linstone, first vice chair.
Mahalo. That's great that there's bipartisan support for this bill. Is there anything more that we can do in addition to submitting testimony and supporting what's being proposed in the legislature?
Well, right now we are conducting it's called call to action, that we're going to different pockets within the community. Also, we're taking it statewide. We have opened up the Big Island and Las Vegas. We have Project Nehemiah's there as well. Call to action that I believe it's February 23rd. It's a Sunday, 1:30 to 3:30. And what we're doing is we're mobilizing the community because there are so many people that is enraged and has a passion in wanting to do something. And so we are going to start out at the Waianae Boat Harbor. We're going to pass out hygienes, whistles, and brochures. And we're just going to go with police escort and just walk throughout that area, and just to kind of shed light, or I would say break barriers to let these areas, and this is not just areas that we're picking. These are areas that we have had many tips that came in, more than 10 tips that have came in saying that these are things that are taking place here in these areas, in these vulnerable places. And so we have targeted the Waianae Boat Harbor first, that we're going to go there. We're mobilizing the community. We're going to come together and just walk through and just let, hey, we're just coming out and bringing awareness, whistles. If you guys, if there's danger of anything, that we are, here's the information, here's a whistle. If you're in danger, you can blow it. So this is what we're doing right now. It's once a month, and then we're going to be doing it in all the states.
Any further questions, comments, or concerns from fellow board members or the community at large? Chair recognizes Dr. Kyoni Dudley.
You know, test. Okay. Sorry. You talk about these signs that you have up. It would seem to me that it would be of great value to have, especially in public toilets and things like that, signs telling people numbers to call, where they could go for safety. There must be places that runaways can go to, right? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
We do. We have collaborated with many organizations that we're not reinventing those. So what we do is, our platform is we bring awareness and collaborate with dignitaries and organizations who has the same goal. We host these type of events, and the calls that we do have, of course, we vet every single call. And then if they are in that situation, then we do have places, safe houses that we can send them to. We are right now in the process, or actually presenting these placards or these signs, and going through the process. There's, step 1, 2, 3. It's just like, okay, we got to go back up to 1, 2, 3. So I'm not sure why there's so much red tape and opposition, just trying to bring this type of awareness. But there is, but we're not going to quit. We're keep pushing forward, and we're going to thrive to make sure that state of Hawaii is free of this type of sexploitation and dangers. Mhm.
There are currently other organizations that do house victims, like there is Huala Nopua that shelters, it's a sanctuary for victims that can get help. So we are partnering with existing organizations. The difference between Project Nehemiah and the rest is we are actually engaged inside the community, informing and actually making that face-to-face connection with those that are involved in trafficking, and bringing light to those who are not aware that it is a serious issue on this island. In addition, Christina Everett, who is the founder of Project Nehemiah, she just released the children's book, Don't Touch Me. And she's working with other representatives to promote this book in the Department of Education. We are getting some resistance from certain schools, I won't name, but there are schools who are willing to have this book in their schools. And there are, unfortunately, some schools that are resisting. So we ask for support in that. If you have a school that you'd like to see, I Googled it, it's on Amazon. It's called Don't Touch Me by Christina Everett. And we need your help with that. As far as legislation, we just need public support. Public support, power in numbers. When they see a lot of people in support of a bill or in opposition of a bill, you have a better chance of being heard, especially if you're in the minority. We really need your support with HB 155. This affects everybody, everyone. Thank you.
Mahalo. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from community members or board members? Two comments or questions for myself. First is from the work that you do, are there particular hotspots where trafficking or is happening in our communities of Honokai, Hale, Kapolei, Makakilo, and potentially Ewa that we should be aware of, so that if we see certain types of activity, we should be present, reach out, go engage with the people there if people feel comfortable, or at least call somebody.
Thank you for the question. Currently, we had HPD reach out to us. They have a special human trafficking team. And I'm going to say this, when the community calls me, I vet every phone call. And at the same time, my job is to protect also those who are calling me. Their concern is, well, number one, retaliation. And number two is they do not want their names to be exposed, or they don't want to be known. All they want us to do is to check out that area, to bring as much awareness as possible. But I'll say this, that throughout the whole island of Honolulu, it's happening in every city. And I will say that it's happening in every city. And so for more information, as far as knowing how it looks like, I do have a book that just was released that's called Speak Up and Speak Out, available on Amazon. And it covers all areas as far as how it looks like. It's an educational book, tells us it's a call to action, what to do. And so it's a book that's developing from a victim to a victor and being able to share this also to someone else. So that book has maybe about 10, 12 endorsements from several politicians as well. Thank you.
Mahalo. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the bringing to light and bringing into our public conversation the disease of human trafficking and sex trafficking that's happening. So really appreciate the work of Project Nehemiah Hawaii and Chief Executive Director Christina Everett and all of the volunteers that are doing this work, especially recognizing those that are victims and the sensitivity around that and the stigma that comes with that in our own communities, because it's real. So mahalo for protecting them and protecting them again, so that there don't be a double victim from the very systems in place that's supposed to be protecting them. Now we get to public input. So transitioning here, we're going to open up for community concerns from community members, asking that any public officials or any board related work or companies hold off their comments until our neighbors come in talk first. So anyone in person or online that would like to provide community concerns at this time? Seeing none, then let's now go to, oh, we got a couple of people online. Let's start off with community member Greg Khalili. You ready to go?
Yes, thank you, Chair Paris. On behalf of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, thank you for the opportunity to, not a community concern, but to announce that the 2025 Prince Kuhio Parade is scheduled for March 29th. And this is the third year we'll be holding the parade in Kapolei. The parade route is from Kapolei Hale to Kamakana Ali'i. This is a decades-long parade, but this is just the third year that we're having it in Kapolei. And I just wanted to make the neighborhood board aware that we're having this. But as we get closer to the event, we'll be sending mailers to residents in Kapolei, as well as other neighboring areas, just to make sure everyone is aware. And then we'll do another media and outreach campaign to, one, promote awareness, but also ensure that we have a very good turnout along the parade route, which runs down Kapolei Parkway. And The reason that we bring the parade, or we've brought the parade for the last 3 years to Kapolei, is because Prince Kuhio was responsible when he was a delegate to Congress for the establishment of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, which now is the law that supports the Hawaiian Homestead Program that is administered by DHHL. And because we have this large homestead presence in Kapolei, we just thought it was appropriate to celebrate his legacy and the work he did, and not just for the Homestead Act, but he had, his legacy is much broader than that. But we thought to bring it to the people. He was called the People's Prince, Keli'i Makainana. And so rather than have it in Waikiki, where a lot of the spectators, are not really from Hawaii, and maybe the legacy and the work of Prince Kuhio might be lost on them, we thought we'd bring the parade to the people, and we'll continue to do so in 2025. So, Chair Paris, if it's appropriate, I'd like to also encourage the community of Kapolei to participate in the parade. We're reaching out to school groups and other community groups, and bands, and others who might be interested in the parade. And if it's okay, I'd like to put the link to the registration form for parade participants and units in the chat.
Sure, go right ahead.
And that is the announcement that I'd like to make. Thank you.
Mahalo to President Dre Kalili of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, providing that save the date announcement and please participate announcement in the 3rd annual In Kapolei Prince Kuhio Parade. Any questions, comments, or concerns from board members of the community on that announcement? Hearing none, let's move forward now to with Irene Banao at BTS. Irene, you ready to go? Yes, we can hear you. Hello.
I'm gonna, my boss Jay just brought up our presentation. Hi, I'm Irene with Transportation Services. We're here to inform everyone of the upcoming bus service changes effective Sunday, March 2nd, 2025. This presentation is available on the board's Google Drive, and our contact information will be shared on the last slide if anybody has questions or concerns. So here's all the upcoming route modifications: Route 41, 44, 415, and 461. They'll be modified like so. And Route 47 is a new route. So Route 41, we shared these changes back in July as well as proposals. And since then, we've done surveys and received a lot of public feedback through the survey and on phone calls and emails. So for the most part, the route's the same as we presented in July. It'll get restructured to go out to Roosevelt Avenue, providing service to the Makai side of Roosevelt, and then to Kamakanali'i Shopping Center, and then out to Eva Beach. Next. Span of service will be from 5 a.m. to 10:15 p.m. Frequency on the weekdays is every 40 minutes, and then on the weekends every 60 minutes. Discontinued service areas for the 41 will be the villages of Kapolei, Kapolei High School, and Kapolei Marketplace and Shopping Center. Next. Route 461, Makakilo-Palahia, UH West Oahu. This route has been shortened to provide direct service from Makakilo to UH West Oahu Station. It will not serve the villages of Kapolei. Next. Span of service is 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays. Weekends and state holidays is from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Frequency is every 60 minutes. Next. Route 415, Kapolei Transit Center, Kalailoa. This route will serve the villages of Kapolei, the Kapolei Transit Center, Kalailoa, and Kapolei High School, as shown on the map. This route we have adjusted since our presentation back in July. Based on field checks and public feedback, we have changed the route to counterclockwise, as that would actually provide more service and ridership. Next. Span of service for the 415 is from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Frequency on weekdays is every 35 minutes, weekdays and state holidays. And then on the weekends, every 60 minutes. And then next. New Route 47, UH West Oahu to Eva Beach. With new routes come new bus stops. As a reminder, bus stops are no parking tollway zones and are enforceable by ordinance. But with this restructure for March, most, if not all of the new stops are in locations where parking is prohibited anyway. The Route 47 and the 44 both link up to Kapolei in the same way on Kualakai and Kamakanali'i Shopping Center. And then they return east toward Eva. The difference is that the 47 is going to head down to Eva Beach to Pu'uloa Beach Park, as you see on the map. And then the 44 will take Renton Road through Eva Villages and head up to Waipahu. Next. The span of service for the 47 is from 4 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. and then the frequency is every 60 minutes. Next. Route 44, it's as I explained previously. It'll go Kualakai, Kamakana, and then head to Eva and Waipahu. Next. The span of service for Route 44 is from 4:30 a.m. to 12:45 a.m. and then frequency is every 60 minutes. And then next. So again, these are the overview of all the changes. We have been receiving feedback since we presented in July. We did surveys in October and November. So the public has been made aware and have been giving feedback regularly. And then next slide. So I know we breezed it pretty fast. I was trying to make the 3 minutes. But yes, any questions, comments, or feedback, please contact us. That's our email, thebusstop@honolulu.gov, and our contact numbers, 808-768-8369 and 808-768-8368. Thank you.
Mahalo to DTS, Department of Transportation Services, with the bus coming over and giving us an update. Appreciate that. Any question, comments, or concerns from community or board members? Thank you for listening to the community and making the adjustments. Come on. We have a question, comment, or concern coming up to the mic.
Hi, my name is Linda Painter. I have a question about the 415 route. Does it no longer go down Saratoga Avenue? It was hard to see on the map.
Yes, sorry. That is correct, but there is going to be new stops on Enterprise at Saratoga.
Okay, because
So
we have
the one. Go
the
ahead.
reason I'm asking is we have customers that come to the bowling center, don't want to drink and drive, so they have the bus stop right there by the ball fields, which is very convenient. Also, right behind the bowling center is the two-run the transitional and the other shelter, and we have a lot of people there that have shy children and buggies and stuff. And as we all know, there's no such thing as a sidewalk in Kailua. So if you're going to make them go out onto the street to get to the bus stop, as opposed to they just kind of cut across our parking lot to get over to the ball fields, I'm concerned with their safety.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I
Any
got
other
that down.
questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, thank you for the update and thank you for taking the community input from our member earlier.
Chair, I'm sorry, this is Vice Chair Lidstone. Could I just support the last testimony? That Saratoga, the 415 was what piqued my interest as well, because I have a lot of, I have my learning center in Kailua, my staff, they use the bus and they use the 415. The Lexington is a great stop for them, but the Saratoga is really important as well. Mahalo.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Dr. Bosler, do you have a comment or question regarding the ETS presentation? Okay, let's move on to the next presenter, recognizing Karen Polk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Paris and board. I'm actually going to share my screen. 1 second. And I'm talking on behalf of actually hunt companies and a farmers market that I think I talked about last year that we just started. It's in Kailua Professional Center. It's on the second Tuesday of the month. The next market will be on February 11th. And it's just really a great place to grab some fresh greens from our farmers in the area on a Tuesday evening. And then we have a seating area. There's also live music and prepared foods. So you can do a little bit of all of that with your ohana. But I have given the flyer to Curtis. I think he's going to put it in the Google Drive for you if you need to download it. But please come check it out this next month and support our local farmers. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns about the new farmers market? Seeing none. Any other public input? One over. Tony Gaston.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Tony Gasson with the Hunt Companies. Thank you, Karen. And what I wanted to do is just give you a quick update on how things are going on out at the project Parcel 1. Now, if you remember back in December when I came in, I was able to show you guys how FDR was open to 4 lanes. And if I zoom in on that, you'll see how now there were 2 lanes going in the east direction towards Diamond Head, 2 lanes going west. Now, because we were able to open these lanes and get traffic going in each direction, it was a good time for us to come in and do some remedial work. So those of you who have driven over there just last week, you would have noticed that now one of the eastbound lanes is closed because that's where we're just doing the remedial work. That remedial work is going to take about a month to a month and a half. And then once that's done, hey, everything just opens back up again and it just becomes through traffic. So good stuff. Now, there's that one other road that we still haven't really done that much, and we're still trying to work on that one. Where is it? Not coming up. But it's Kopahe. If you can remember, on Kopahe Avenue, not much work has happened over there yet, and it's because there it is. We're waiting on approvals from the United States DOE to get the work done, and we haven't done anything for now almost 2 years. Guess what? We get to meet with the school tomorrow because we're going to get in there next week and start moving the dust screen, and we're going to be able to finish that road. And so by the middle of this year, finally, Kopahe can be completed. And once that happens, then all the roadways will be done. So that's my quick update for everybody. Are there any questions?
Any questions, comments, or concerns on the update from Uncle Tony from Hunt?
Yeah, thanks, sir. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Get on.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Okay. Now let's go to any of the elected officials or their representatives, starting off with Mayor Rick Blangiardi. Is Deputy Director Keith Suzuka online?
Aloha, Keith Suzuka from the Department of Land Management. Happy New Year, everyone. And for some reason, I can't get my video going. Oh, well, I guess first of all, I apologize. I did not realize that to give responses to concerns that were raised in December, I had to be on the calendar. So I will make sure to get on the calendar the next time so that I can spend a little bit more time answering things. The concerns that were raised the last time, a bunch of them dealt with HONU, and I'm not sure if the representatives from DCS are still there or not, but I was able to reach out to DCS and I found out that actually Sam Moku, who is the homeless coordinator, had actually planned to be at tonight's meeting, but Sam is no longer with the city. And so DCS scurried around, and I think there should be one or two people from DCS in the audience to address the phone questions. So I will just quickly say
Yeah,
that
Uncle, they're
in my
here. They're here.
Okay, great. And maybe I'll just ask if they could speak after this. But so I'm going to pass over the HONU questions, except to say that with respect to the first one, in speaking to the deputy director for DCS, that there are no plans to expand the HONU program in Kapolei due to high demand. That was one of the questions. Did want to report on a couple of other issues. One was that there was a request for by board members for more details and information about fire and police statistics involving homeless, houseless, and mentally ill persons. And the response that we got from HPD is that unfortunately, we do not provide statistics on houseless individuals for several reasons. The first being that it is very difficult to confirm a person's residential address for crimes in which persons have not been identified or charged, or filtering of residential status. And filtering of residential status is quite problematic. Residential statuses frequently change and can be difficult to track or confirm. In addition, singling out a group of individuals based on their lack of a residence would be biased towards those individuals and could be used by the public to unfairly target homeless individuals. The other part of that request was that can HPD email the monthly report to Chair Paris and the neighborhood commission office at least 1 week before the monthly meeting to ensure board members can ask questions to HPD. And the response was that the District 8 community policing team will email Chair Paris and the NCO the monthly stats as of the start of each month. Once they get completed, please advise the CPT in the future if there is any change of who the report should be sent to. The last thing that I wanted to report back on is there was a request about that residents requested a DTS update about the Makakilo Drive extension project because of heavy traffic congestion on Makakilo Drive going southbound to Fort Barrett Road. DTS response is that the city is working on restarting the planning/design contract to revise the EA such that it reflects the latest recommended roadway alignment and associated historic preservation concerns. Although the Federal Highway Administration will not review the EA until the project is on the tip, the Department of Transportation Service will proceed with the EA locally until the project is ready to request federal funding. That's my report.
Mahalo for the updates from the city. Any questions, comments, or concerns from fellow board members of the mayor's office? Thank you, Dr. Dudley.
Yes. What was my thought? Oh, you seem to be the only person from the city here tonight, and so I just wanted to say again that the trees on Makakilo Drive really need to be checked out. I don't know if they're not getting enough water, that was what somebody said at one time, or if they've got some kind of disease, but I really think that it's going to be a really serious situation going up Makakilo Drive. So I
Sure.
wish you
I'll
could pursue that. Thank you.
I'll take that back. And actually, one of the things I did not get a response to was there was a concern earlier about the bumps in the road, and I still need to push various departments and various things, and that's one of them that I still owe you a response to. But by the way, before I forget, I did want to have the Honu people answer some of the questions that I've deferred to them.
We'll have the Hono presenters come up while I circle around to see if there's any other questions, comments, or concerns given the feedback from the mayor's representative, Deputy Director Keith Suzuka. Hearing none, you're off the hook for now while we have the Hono update, and then please stay online if anybody thinks of anything else.
Aloha and good evening. Edward Los Panos, Deputy Director, Department of Community Services. So first off, I want to thank you folks for hosting and having Honu in their community. Since we started on October 1st, we've had 270 people come through our program. So that's about 270 people that come off the streets into our doors. We've been able to place about 170 of those 270 individuals that came through our doors. Please note that about, I said we service 270. There's still about 40 people across the street. And Honu's not necessarily a good fit for everybody. There's 60 people that fell out of our program, but as part of our program, like I shared last time I was here, was we tell them that you can exit our program, but you can't stay here. We'll take them to wherever they want to be, but we do take them out of the community. But those are 270 people that are no longer in your community, and like Corporal Pagan shared earlier today. I mean, good stats about our placements and folks moving on. In fact, last month, Channel 2 News featured a story where they featured two of our Honu participants, where the folks were navigated to drug treatment and are trying to make a better go of their lives going forward. So the program does make an impact. It does have a progress moving forward. Now, some of the challenges we have about scaling up that Deputy Director Suzuka mentioned earlier has to deal with the ratios that we have. And if we have more people, we're going to need more security. We're going to need more toilets. We're going to need more showers to kind of change the complexion of our program. What we do to monitor our program is we try and stay in communities as long as we're being effective on it with our program. So far, since we moved into Kapolei area, our program's pretty much been, our tent's been full. We've been pretty much near capacity the whole time we've been here. We haven't seen any kind of curbing going down. As Corporal Pagan reported, we are looking to stay here possibly through March or moving on after March, because we're having a good run here at Honu, and our statistics are looking really good out here. So I want to thank the community for having us again. One more point I wanted to make, I think, on mental health issues. There are a couple bills that the governor introduced. I'm sorry, I don't have the bill numbers on me right now. That focus on make first responders more. For folks having mental health episodes or mental health challenges, gives our first responders more capabilities in addressing their situations and taking them into custody in a humane way, right? I mean, right now our laws kind of focus and give people the benefit of the doubt before taking away a proceeding against their civil rights. But we're looking at ways and laws in the legislature right now to make it more accessible and be able to proceed in a humane way, and that's why I was going to go to the legislature this year.
Mahalo to Honu for being here with us and providing us an update. Any questions, comments, or concerns given the update from Honu? Thank you very much for the good work that you're doing. Any other public servant from the city wishing to provide updates at this time?
Sorry, aloha, hi, my name is Jeannie Timotel, and I am one of the service community case managers for Andrew Tupola's office of District 1. So you are probably not familiar with me because you usually see Kika, my partner in crime. But as you can tell, I draw the end of the end stick on this, but that's okay. Aloha, everyone. So you should be able to see me or Kika on the floor hitting it for our beautiful community. Unfortunately, Andrea was online, but she couldn't make it at this time. So we'll be going over just the items that we did present to the neighborhood board. We did send you 2 areas. One is just a highlight of a flyer for her and how you can get accessibility to our team. You have it on her link, which is on her website, or also you can, it's listing of QR codes and links for different areas such as budgets, events, and trying to visit her or set up any type of appointments. So I believe all board members, I have sent that to you by email. The second portion of what she had presented was a written statement of the wastewater increase that she's opposing that. She's not in favor. For those of you who have any questions, you can feel free to go ahead and email me and I can go ahead and send you that documentation. And I will place that link up once again. I believe I can be able to share. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Any comments, questions, or concerns given the updates from Councilmember Tupola's office? The only thing that will be super helpful is if you could provide the mana'o from Councilmember why she's opposing ENB's proposal at this time, so our community can use that in our deliberations on position.
Not a problem. I'll get that to you.
Now let's go to any of the federal level public servants.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
members of the board, if you can hear me. Nestor Garcia here, Communications Director for Congressman Ed Case. Our appearance at our usual once a quarter neighborhood board meeting for boards who are in this congressional district. And Mr. Chairman and members, we would come back to you more frequently should there be a question or concern or program that you would want us to follow up with you and your constituency. Mr. Chairman, the most important thing I'd like to share with the members of the board and with those who are tuning in to this meeting tonight is that the Congressman himself will be holding what's called a talk story or a town hall, if you will, on Thursday evening, next Thursday evening. It will be held at Honouliuli Middle School. This will start at 6:30 in the evening and run till 8 o'clock. That's Thursday, January 30th. I sure that many people will attend because of what is occurring in Washington, D.C. that has ramifications for those of us here 5,000 miles away in Hawaii with a new Congress, the 119th Congress, as well as a new administration in the White House. So we would love to have you all attend that session on Thursday evening at Honouliuli Middle School, again, starting at 6:30. Mr. Chairman, I did post the Congressman's first quarter neighborhood board report in the chat. Just to say that he will be once again as a member of the critical subcommittees on appropriations that speaks to Homeland Security as well as defense. So he's been reappointed those 2 subcommittees, and I'm not quite sure whether or not he'll be having a seat once again on natural resources. So we're still up in the air with that. I believe one item of interest, I hope that you might want to take a look at. This is a bill that Congressman reintroduced along with his Republican colleague from Guam, the Delegate James Moylan. It's called the Affordable Shipping for All Act. This is not to be confused with the Jones Act bills that he'll be once again reintroducing this session. What the Affordable Shipping for All Act really speaks to is this problem that those of us who live in the non-contiguous areas of our United States, including Alaska, Guam, American Samoa, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the Northern Mariana Islands as well. There are companies that don't ship to us at all for some reason or another, or if they do, the cost of shipping their goods for sale to us is expensive. For example, the Congressman cites the example of the cost to ship a 2-pound package from Los Angeles to Hawaii can exceed $45, while the same package from Los Angeles to New York City, that same distance, going the opposite direction, costs only $14. Now, this price disparity is both unreasonable and unjust. This time, although, this measure is also taking aim for the first time against the United States Postal Service. Now, the reason why we're taking aim at the Postal Service is because the agency recently created a new Zone 10 for shipments to Hawaii, Alaska, and other non-contiguous areas. This increased shipping rates for Priority Mail Express, Priority Mail, and USPS Ground Advantage packages to and from those locations. The prices for those categories went up by 5% in this new Zone 10. So this bill is going to try to see if we can correct that. So along with Congressman Moylan of Guam, a Republican, we introduced this measure just last week. Hopefully I'll get a hearing in the committees that they're assigned to. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, open to any questions you might have.
Mahalo for the update from the Congressman's Cases Office. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Dr. Keone Dudley, Second Vice Chair.
And Nestor, I would like to have a personal, maybe 10 minutes before or after that meeting, if you could possibly arrange that. I'd like to talk with him about hurricane problems and what the Congress can do, and try to get myself clear on what is possible with that.
Yes,
Do you
sir.
think you could you arrange that,
Yes, sir,
please?
Doctor. Let's see what I can do with that, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other board members? Any questions, comments, or concerns for Ed Cases Office from the community at large? One thing, Uncle Nestor, is on the docket for the city and county of Honolulu is the siting of the new landfill, and some of the sites were considering, from the city's perspective, was potential federal lands that they were not able to negotiate, and also next to UH West Oahu, which is next to the National Park Service Honolulu internment camp. So it will be helpful to see if what the thoughts are from Ed Cases Office, if not the congressional delegation, on what's possible. Not trying to get in the middle of everything, but trying to have all of the facts for our community as we move forward, and being asked for multiple parties to weigh in. So it'll be helpful to understand where the congressman is on this.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, also be watching legislation that will be introduced in the state legislature where they might change the ability for the city to site a landfill. So, you know, we'll be watching to see whether or not there'll be any kind of a federal nexus to that legislation should it be enacted and signed by the governor. Thank you. Good point to be raised, Chairman.
Okay, with that, let's go to the state officials, starting with Governor Josh Green and our liaison from HHFDC, Uncle Gordon Pang.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening to you, Vice Chair, Second Vice Chair, board members, and last government official standing, Representative Garcia, and to everyone else, fellow West Oahu residents. Gordon Pang, your representative to the governor, here to take any questions back for you that we may be able to answer better. Why don't you think about that while I just give you a brief summary of what I do have. The UH West Oahu project that was presented earlier is online on your Google Drive. So please go there. If you can't access it there, email me, gordon.pang@hawaii.gov, and we'll send you a copy. As Chair noted, this is very early in the process, so we look forward to hearing from folks on this. Also, the governor's newsletter is also on the Google Drive. The January newsletter provides a good synopsis of the different accomplishments that have been completed in the first 2 years in office. So that's there for your perusal as well. Otherwise, I'm here to take your questions. Oh, and great news to hear about Makakilo Drive extension. Let's hope that's finally moving.
Mahalo. Any questions, comments, or concerns given the report from the governor's liaison, Gordon Pang? Good job. And super, super grateful to all of the agencies in the state coming so early in the process to get community input. It's absolutely amazing.
I'll send that back.
Okay. Now let's go to other state public servants. Last one standing from the state legislature. Come on up.
Thank you,
Hi
Chair.
there.
Aloha board members. Oh,
So sorry. I didn't know
no
you were.
worries. Feel free to-
Apologies.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Melanie.
No, please, you representative.
All right. I'll be quick. Just we have our monthly newsletter, our neighborhood board report. FYI, there is a town hall meeting happening next week, Tuesday at Honolulu Middle School, January 28th, 6 to 8 p.m. We'll be going over our bill package, what bills we're introducing this year for our West Oahu community, and some other issues that pertain to District 42. Also, just a very important bill that was filed, HB 157 on the House side and Senate Bill 662 on the Senate side. I introduced the House bill, Senator Gabbard did the Senate bill, and this bill is regarding the road transfers within the villages of Kapolei. As you all know, for years, over a decade ago, those roads were supposed to be transferred back to the city and county of Honolulu. And there's jurisdictional issues right now over enforcement with towing vehicles, issuing parking tickets, where HPD cannot enforce the law because those are state roads. So this bill that I introduced along with the senator would force the transfer to happen by January 1st, 2026. So we're forcing HHFDC and the city and county to come to the table and get it done. It was promised years ago. Let's fulfill the promises. And then lastly, just a recap on our CIP request. We are introducing $106 million for improvements to Kapolei High School, $1.5 million for the Kaupea Homestead, $1.5 million for the new homestead by the Kroc Center, $2 million for the Kaupea Community Park, and $1.5 million for the Kanahili Hawaiian Homestead Community Park as well. Any questions? I'm here to answer. Other than that, we'll give the time to Senator Gabbard's office. Thank you.
Mahalo, Representative. Questions, comments, or concerns from the representative? Chair recognizes First Vice Chair Michaela Lindstone.
I just wanted to comment that that's great news about the bill to force the transfer. You know, I've been attending the neighborhood board even before I was on the board, and for years and years, villages of Kapolei has been under this heaviness with this road. It's just been so frustrating for the residents. So, I mean, for a solution to, you know, for you to introduce this and provide a possible solution in this way is really great for that community. So mahalo.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And just a FYI, we did speak with the majority leadership, so they are prone to having the bill heard and the conversation going. It's crucially important for it to be heard. That way, it forces both HHFDC and the city to come to the table, testify on it, and they're aware of the issue. So thank you for that.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns for Representative Garcia? Dr. Dudley, go ahead.
I just want to say that I was really disappointed that only one person voted against the House rules. And I think that, you know, we've got a number of Republicans now, and they're mostly from this area. And I think that's really powerful because we need a strong voice in opposition to the corruption that goes on. I would like to encourage you to get together with the other new people in the Democrat Party, and maybe all the new people and the Republicans could make some difference over there, you know? And it was such a crying shame to see what happened because the rules go on and they are lousy.
Thank you for that, Dr. Dudley. There were some changes made to the House rules. I do know there's been lots of talk between some members in our caucus, as well as the majority caucus, primarily those newer members, about changes to the House rules. Lots of rules changes were proposed this year from both parties. It's up to the majority leadership, Speaker of the House, Vice Speaker, to make the final decision on what was in the new House rules. I voted with reservations on it because I had some issues with it. I would like to have seen more rule changes in there, but also there was an attack on the invocations in the House. Since statehood, every single session opens with an invocation. It's a tradition that goes back to the inception of our country. In these new House rules, it no longer records the invocations in the official record. And so I spoke out against that, and there were other issues as well. I do know Rep. Julie Reyes-Oda from District 40, who's here, also voted with reservations on the House rules. And so, yeah, there's lots of things that need to be improved, and we look forward to working with the new members on the other side to make sure things happen. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns for Representative Garcia? Seeing none, thank you so much for your service. Now let's go to Senator Gabbard's liaison.
Thank you, and aloha, Chair Paris, Vice Chair Lindstone, and honorable board and community members. I'm Melanie June, Senator Gabbard's community liaison and legislative assistant. And the senator sends his best to you and your ohana, and he invites you all to read his January newsletter, where he provides updates on his current priorities for the upcoming session, with his biggest focus being on food systems. The senator will also be hosting a community listen story meeting this Saturday, January 25th. It'll be from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Kapolei High School in the Teacher's Lounge. There's also going to be a Zoom link available upon request. And with that, feel free to reach out to our office if you have any questions, or we can help you in any way. And I'd be happy to take any questions anybody has back to the senator.
Mahalo. Any questions, comments, or concerns for Senator Gabbard's office? Seeing none at this time. Any other state official or their liaison wishing to share anything this evening? It does recognize and thank the Honorable Representative Julie Reyes-Oda for gracing us with their presence here. We appreciate our elected leaders coming to our community forums. Seeing no one else, any last call for public input at this time? Come on up, Ms. Member Sheila Fideris.
This one, just a reminder, I just want to say, first of all, thank you to Representative Diamond Garcia. He was instrumental in helping us get the location for our food bank drive that has been going on since October. Our next food bank drive will be February 8th, and that's from 7 to 8 a.m. at Kapolei High School. So if you know anyone that needs food assistance, please come down and share that information as well. And thank you very much.
This time, we're going to go into board business. The first item is approval of the written summary for video record Wednesday, December 4th, 2024. Is there a motion to adopt? It's been moved by Dr. Dudley. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Michaela Lindstone. We are available for public testimony. Going once, going twice, going three times. Okay. Members, any further discussion? Is there any objection to the minutes? No, sorry, the written summary for the video record. Hearing no objection, the chair calls it by unanimous consent. Moving forward, we do have the item that was unfinished business from the last time, which is supporting the repeal of the 1984 amended rules and the adoption of Chapter 1912 of the City and County of Honolulu Administrative Rules. Is there a motion to adopt? At this time, the chair is wondering whether or not we are prepared for this discussion, or do we need more time for the community to provide their comments?
Chair, is this for the city, the gardens, the community?
This is for the gardens, yeah. Just wondering because we didn't, at the last meeting, we were clear that we had concerns that we wanted the community members to bring up for potential amendments to the proposed administrative rule changes. Did anyone on the board or in our community have prepared amendments? Seeing that there's no prepared amendments at this time, the chair recommends that we defer this matter until the next calendar day for our meeting, and then do a call out again for amended language that will address the community garden inequity that exists in Honolulu, because most of West Oahu doesn't have community gardens, and these rules highlight the fact that they're happening everywhere else except for in our communities. Okay. Is there any objections to the chair's deferral of this matter to the next agenda? Hearing no objection, the chair calls it by unanimous consent. Now let's move to the resolution, standing in solidarity with the Neighborhood Commission and calling for amendments to the State Sunshine Law to allow more discussion at neighborhood board meetings and designate the Neighborhood Board Commission as the governing body under the Sunshine Law. This resolution has been circulated through our Google Drive, and in essence, it's been vetted, and it is already the NCO's official board position to carve out more of an exemption to allow for the community members to operate. If I'm paraphrasing First Chair Dr. Dudley's reminder to all of us that the neighborhood board has been engaging with elected officials in a conversation kuka way for possibly 50 years, and it wasn't broken. So why new advice? So let's just consolidate that exemption in the HRS so that we can move forward with that. So it's been moved by Dr. Dudley. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Mikiala Linstone, our board member. Open for public testimony. Anyone wishing to testify? Come on up. Honorable Representative Julie Reyes-Oda.
Thank you. Good evening to the board and Kapolei, and good evening to everybody else who came in here. In regards to this one, tomorrow morning, I will be putting in a bill regarding this item. I had it circulating for signature since last week. Tomorrow's our deadline, so it's my one that's going to go in. Regarding this bill, I can tell you guys what my bill looks like and what I'm adding to it. So, hold on one second. Of course, my phone is thinking. So the bill I'm putting in is amending section 92-81, and it's going to be, I guess, amending part 7, the neighborhood boards. So what it's going to do is it's going to add in, I don't want to read you the part that it didn't. It's going to add in the section it's titled Neighborhood Board Meeting, Unanticipated Events, Public Interest, and it's going to add official reports. So under that section, I'm going to be adding a B, and it says a board may discuss an official government report that is not on the agenda at a meeting, provided that the board shall not make a decision relating to the report. The board may make, it's very small, may make decisions. Oh, yeah, hold on, quick. The board may make decisions relating to the report only at a later meeting where the agenda for the meeting shall give notice of decision-making on the matter related to the report. So that is the part that it is adding in. And sorry, there's another section in above it where I'm adding in the Neighborhood Commission of the City and County of Honolulu and such other county-based commissions shall serve as the respective oversight authorities for application of this chapter to the neighborhood boards. So this is exactly what we were talking about, which is the resolution from the Neighborhood Commission, which is what I used to create this. Because at that meeting I came and I told them that I was going to submit it for a bill. In particular, just for an example for anybody who just wants to know, when you guys look at, let's say, the agenda made for tonight, for the sections that were listed for elected representatives, it just has people's names. And if you listen to the OIP report that I think was September 5th last year, it's going to tell you that that means since there is no particular items listed for discussion, that the only thing that the board can do is consider that informational. And that means that they only can sit there and listen. And so they can't actually, let's say, interact with it. with the person speaking. So in that case, all the person at the microphone would be doing is just doing a dump here and then just sitting down. And it would be like that over and over again. And sometimes it makes it difficult because for us here, when we're speaking at the mic, what your board chair has to do is submit an agenda 7 days in advance, because that's what the neighborhood commission asks. And then on the 6th day before, they'll send it out to the public. And sometimes items have come up between then until the day that we are for today. So he had to probably submit this last week Wednesday, and they probably sent it out last Thursday. And so that means that well, I'm not on this board, but if I was on this board and I gave it to him, I couldn't discuss anything that happened in the last 6 days or 7 days, because those items would have never existed when the agenda came out. So that's why this is a little bit important, for everybody here to understand about timelines, about listed agendas, and that the intention of this board, the board doesn't have any power. And so what this is doing is trying to help the board to operate. Thank you.
Mahalo. Appreciate the testimony in support of this position. Any others wishing to publicly testify? Going once, going twice, going 3 times? Okay. Open for discussion. Board members, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed say a'ole.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions say kanalua. Chairs called it unanimous. We passed our resolution and appreciate the efforts of the honorable representative from our neighboring district 43 to be able to talk story with us. 41, 40, 40 for talking story with us and putting in the much needed amendments at the state legislature. Now we are at time at 10:02. So I will do one call for any member requests for the future agenda items from board members, and then we will go to the board announcement and adjournment. So any board member requests for future agenda items? Okay. Chair recognizes Dr. Keone Dudley.
Mr. Chair, at the next meeting, I would like to see time for all of the candidates for our board to introduce themselves for at least 3 minutes. And I would like to see that in the public address time so that we can ask questions of the person.
Gotcha. The request is noted. Any others from board members? Okay. This is our way of negotiating the newest OIP guidance that we cannot actually bring up board concerns because we are not formally members of the public, but we can actually bring up items in which we want to see the agenda on the agenda for the next time. So this is our way of working with the current rules. Seeing none from any other board members. Now to the board announcement, our next scheduled meeting for the regular board meeting for the Makakilo-Kapolei-Honokai Hale Neighborhood Board number 34 is scheduled for February 26 on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Kapolei Hale conference rooms A and B and online via WebEx. Also an announcement from NCO that candidate registration is now open for 2025 neighborhood board elections. All current board members for the 2023-2025 board term will need to register for the new term if they wish to continue and need to secure the votes necessary to continue. Registration and candidate profile forms will not roll over from the previous neighborhood board elections. Important dates include Friday, February 21st, 2025, which is the candidate filing and voter registration deadline. April 25th, 2025 voting begins, and May 16, 2025 voting ends. For more information, check out honolulu.gov/NCO and call the Neighborhood Board Commission at 808-768-3710 or email them at nco@honolulu.gov. So at this time, community members, if you're interested in serving, please register. We'd love to have your voice considered. And with that, if there's no objection to adjournment, seeing no objection, the chair calls the meeting adjourned at 10:05 p.m. Mahalo nui.
Mahalo, Chair.
Chair,
Wonderful
sorry, I
start
did
out.
have one question, sorry. I don't know, but in the past we had talked about inviting the Hawaii Pacific Birth Collective from Maui to come over and talk about ways to support our Indigenous midwives. I wasn't sure, do I have to request here the month before that we get them on the agenda that they can come and present, or can they just come?
So this is a question. We are adjourned, so but I will entertain the question from the member. For any presentations, we need to agendize them 7 days prior. So
Okay.
please contact me to be able to engage with whoever you would like to present from
Okay.
midwife issue. And we can talk with them about what's necessary for appropriate agendizing. Anyone is welcome to come and provide up to 3 minutes of community concerns, announcements during public input. So if it's less than 3 minutes, they don't need to be agendized.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you next month.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much and have a wonderful year, everybody.